Perfect. So mindset hacks for 2025 and how to leave the negative thoughts behind for good. Um, you you've probably heard me talk a lot about mindset already and how our beliefs about ourselves, about others, about the world really make a difference, and we can literally create the life around us through our thoughts and our beliefs. That's how powerful we are. We are truly powerful beings. And and when we just don't seem to believe it. If we knew how powerful we are, we would pay much more attention to our thoughts and to our beliefs, and we would make it a priority to make sure that we are in the right vibration, in the right state of being, with empowering beliefs and attitudes. We are really, 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 really powerful. So if you have been told otherwise, that's not true. So the first message I would like to send today is that even if you're having a terrible day or a terrible period of time, or you're battling lots of negative thoughts, um, they're there for a reason. They're not random. They're not your enemies. They're not your enemies. So what I want to share with you today is not just superficial tools, and we're going to go more in detail into what positive thinking is and affirmations and all that. I'm not going to be sharing with you that you have to be more positive, that you have to read a lot of affirmations. The positive thinking is the key. There is an element to that, and we will explore that more. But uh, because I know that's not easy, because I know that doesn't help. You've probably heard that before, and it hasn't helped. So any negative thoughts that you might be battling are not your enemies. So one of the things I would like you to take from this session is that whatever is going on for you, it's not there to annoy you. It's not a curse. Is not something, even if you feel like a negative thought or a recurring thought has been with you for years or decades, it can change. It can be changed, and actually much more, I was going to say easily. I don't know if easy is the way, in a much more simple way that you probably think. So know that whatever your starting point, even if you're really struggling with negative thoughts or with negativity, you can get out of it. Is not that difficult. You just need the right tools. And yeah, and probably if you have been told to just think more positive and or visualize something, you you've probably noticed that it didn't work, because there is much more to having an empowering mindset than positive affirmations or positive thinking. So what I mean by having an empowering mindset and developing an empowering mindset is, imagine, let's talk about writings in the walls. So imagine, that all your life, you have been learning ever since you were a baby, um, maybe even before, because some of the patterns we have or the beliefs we have, we inherit. They can be ancestral patterns. So imagine you've spent a lifetime of writing beliefs in your walls. And those writings in your walls will be based on what you learned from your parents or caregivers, grandparents, teachers, any figures of authority, the TV, social media, friends at school. So as we grow up, and especially the first 5-6 years of life, it's like we constantly have a pen, and we're constantly writing beliefs about ourselves and others and the world. And we define how the world works. If you've heard about script theory, they talk about by the time we are 6 or 7, we have a script of what our life is going to look like. And that can be that you're going to be very successful in love, or that you're always going to be the one with a broken heart. It could be that you're going to be very successful in your career, or it could be that you're always going to be broke, and that there's going to be no abundance for you. It could be the you're going to be happy and achieve any goals you set, but it could be the good things don't happen to you. You are the one, um, everything happens to you. So based on those writings in the walls, and we decide this, we make these decisions when we are very, very young, very, very young, especially the first few years of life. And we write all these beliefs in the walls, and we make decisions about what we can expect from life. Now, the thing is that the mind, uh, the mind is really smart, and if it has been programmed, it's like a computer. If it has been programmed to expect scarcity and lack of money, to expect to be brokenhearted, to expect disappointment, to expect to not succeed and just be silenced, and if you're not expecting nothing special, if that's what the mind is programmed to do, what the mind is going to be focused on is on people, experiences, situations that confirm those writings in the wall. And if you try to change them through positive thinking, through affirmations, the mind resists. Why? Because as humans, we don't like change. We like safety. The human being, by instinct, craves safety. And despite all those writings on the walls, even if they have made you miserable in your love life, in your career, or with your family, or whatever you're at today, you're still here. You're still here. You made it. You have survived. And that's what your brain is going to prioritize. So when you try to change, when you try to, and that's why sometimes it's so hard to start a new habit or to just change a recurring negative thought or to change a belief is very, very difficult, because the mind your system instinctively is going to resist it, is going to resist that change. And the thing about these writings in the walls is that sometimes we are aware of them. Some good old friends, you're not good enough, you don't deserve this doesn't happen to people like you. Some of them are, yeah, like kind of like good old friends, like the inner critic. You can think about it in whatever format you like. Sometimes we are aware of them, but sometimes we are not. And what we are aware of is the conscious mind. So if you think about an iceberg and this being the water, the conscious mind, it's a tiny percentage, like up to 5% of all the thoughts and all the beliefs we have in our mind. And it is that way because otherwise we will go crazy. So imagine you've learned how to walk, how to do your laces up, how to open the door, some things you do kind of mechanically, right? So if you had to go consciously through all of those things that you have learned, and think, right, now I'm going to stand up, so I'm going to engage this muscle and this other muscle, and I'm going to stand up and I'm going to start walking, I'm going to move my leg first, but also this arm in the other direction, we will go crazy. So there's only so much we can process at any given time. So the conscious mind is made of up to 5% of everything that goes on in our mind. Tiny, tiny. The subconscious mind is what runs the show. It's the bit below the surface. And that's where most of our writings in our walls are. So when you're trying to do positive thinking or positive affirmations or a visualization, you're engaging with only 5% of your mind. It's going to take up a lot of effort to fight that. Not to fight that. I don't like the word fight. To override it. It's when we work with the subconscious mind that the magic happens. So that's why, does it mean, am I saying the positive thinking doesn't work? No, it is powerful. There is power to it. Same as affirmations and visualizations, there is power to it, but it's not all that is. The subconscious mind is much, 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 much bigger, much, much, much more powerful. So you might have had experiences doing a visualization or setting intentions or saying some affirmations, and something shifting very quickly, and you think, wow, this is super powerful, this is great. But maybe you tried it for something else and then it's like, this didn't work. So why does it work sometimes and it doesn't work sometimes? Now, the thing is that if you use tools like positive thinking, positive affirmations, visualizations, vision boards, setting intentions, all this, and your subconscious mind, the chunk of beliefs and thoughts under the water, are aligning, then yeah, it's a great tool and it can be a great catalyst, and it can bring you like really quick results and and things happening out of nowhere and synchronicities and all that. Now, if it doesn't matter if you do a million visualizations or tell yourself a million affirmations, if there is something in the subconscious mind, if there is a belief that goes against it, if there is so for example, you could be doing lots of affirmations about how wealthy and abundant and rich you are and how money flows to me and all these affirmations, right? But if at the core, if in the subconscious mind, there is a program that says you can only expect poverty if you grew up in a family with a very strong scarcity mindset, very, very likely there's going to be lots of programs and lots of beliefs down there that say that, or maybe the money is not good, the money is not for good people, that you shouldn't be charging for your services, that you don't deserve that amount of money, that the rich people are born and you can never be rich, you name it. So if those beliefs are there contradicting the affirmations, these 5%, there's no way that it's going to have enough strength to beat that 95, the power of that 95% of those programs installed in the subconscious mind. So, and that's what really runs the show. That's what really runs the show and what attracts people, circumstances, situations to confirm those beliefs and that get us stuck. And if you feel like you're always stuck, if you feel like your life is not flowing at all and it's always a struggle, it shouldn't be that way. It shouldn't be that way. If you feel that way, there is something down there in the subconscious mind blocking your success. So I'm going to be sharing we're going to do an experiment in a second, so you experience the power of the subconscious mind, and we're going to be talking about lots of practical tips and tools. I'm just going to have a look at the messages. Noni say, no wonder I'm having such struggle. By 6-year-old, I knew myself and everyone around me were slaves, and that's all I had to look forward to. I've worked very hard to reprogram after being set free at 13. Yeah, of course. And of course, the more intense and emotionally charged the experiences we go through are, the writings in the walls become really, really, really hard to erase. So it's like a tattoo. It's not even a writing. It can be a what's the word I want to say? I don't know the tool I want to say, but like really engraving it in the wall, not even just writing it, but really engraving it. So yeah, so the deeper that writing in the wall has been, and the longer it has been there for, it will take a bit more work to rewrite it, of course. So the work around developing an empowering mindset, or a positive mindset, whatever you want to call it. I prefer to call it empowering mindset, because positive has that connotation of, yeah, let's just think positive and everything is fine. It has a bit of that connotation of maybe kind of ignoring or denying what's going on. I like the word empowering. So yeah. So the key to developing an empowering mindset is to combine both. But the biggest piece of work, and the work I do with the clients I work with all the time, focuses on the subconscious mind and doing that deep work. Not just the affirmations are great, and visualization and all that. They're great tools, but they're just a tiny part of the work that needs to be done if you really want to experience real transformation and real shifts. So I'm going to be sharing a bit more of how to do that. Really good question, Teresa. How do you raise your kids to understand that money doesn't grow on trees without creating a scarcity mindset? I think there is a combination here of not using negative language. So, for example, an expression like "money doesn't grow on trees." Do you think I'm a bank? You know, I've heard this from my parents, right? I think and I'm pregnant now with my first child, so I'm gonna be uh, having some hard times having these conversations, I'm assuming. But I think we we don't treat them uh, like they understand. Like sometimes the words we use, they can understand much more. They can process much more than we think. And sometimes we use expressions like this when it's when you could just tell your child about valuing, and understanding the value behind things and the work that it is required to spend certain things. So, for example, if you want to buy this toy and this other toy and you want to do this, that requires work, and helping them understand the value of money, because otherwise they grow up being spoiled and they don't value it, and if they have everything, they don't learn to then earn it for themselves, right? So sometimes when parents go to the extreme of giving them everything and anything they ask for, then they can become a bit lazy and they can get used to getting everything down for them, and they don't and they don't put any value to it. So a combination of allowing them to experience uh an abundance of everything, abundance of experiences, abundance of love, also teaching that material things are not the most important things, because I know there's a lot of peer pressure, and if one kid gets the most expensive toy, then everyone wants it, and everyone wants the 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 most expensive brand shoes and trainers and all this. So yeah, it's a combination about teaching them the value of money, the work that is behind that. So they understand that if they want this pair of trainers, maybe that requires a full day of work from your side or your husband's side or whoever, right? Again, simplicity. Sometimes there is a lot that with technological gadgets, for example. I'm going to have a hard time with this because I don't want to let my kids have a smartphone or tablet or anything like that, because I know it's going to fry their brains. So I don't want I don't want that for them, and that's how a lot of the pressure starts, from wanting what other kids have, but giving them all the type of experience, all the type of playtime, and encouraging from an early age to pursue something, to have a purpose, to be creative, to start making money, when they can, not with the obsession of having to make money, but so they understand the true value behind it. But we could go on this topic for for hours, because that's a very good question. That was a very good question, Teresa. Noni saying, yes, tattooed by lava. Yeah, the work to heal is all I care about now. Yeah, great. Oh, thank you for being here. Melody saying, I tell mine there can be a money tree, but we have to teach them how to plant and care for it. Develop a good work ethic. That's fantastic. Yeah, yeah. That's really great. You can use a metaphor for them. But again, how is that tree, how does that tree grow? Where does the money come from? How to care for it, how to make it grow. So yeah, very interesting. Right. Okay, so if you see me looking at my notes, I just want to make sure that I don't miss anything that I wanted to share with you today. So yeah, so the main idea, the mind is made of the conscious mind and the subconscious mind. The subconscious mind is where all the magic happens, is where all the work, not where I focus all the work, but because that's 95% of the mind. When I work with someone, a big percentage of the work I do with them is with focus on the subconscious mind and rewriting those writings in the walls. And let me tell you, it doesn't matter how strong that writing in the wall is or how long it has been there, it can be rewritten. You have the power to rewrite it. Again, it might take a bit longer if it's been there for ages, for decades, if it's been there like burnt into the wall, right? But it can be done. And this is much more simple than maybe what you were expecting, but let me tell you, this is really powerful. And when I say simple, I don't say easy, because I know that this involves a lot of healing. And sometimes I work with people, people come to me like to a discovery session or something like that, and they say, yeah, I like your approach and I would like to work together, but I don't want to talk about the past. The past is in the past, and let's leave it there. And I'm like, right, okay, so I can understand that because of maybe the bad reputation that talking therapy has in terms of being a bit painful. You know, you go to the same person every week to ask you questions about, you know, what happened when you were a child and what your dad did to you and what your mother didn't to you and all this. It has a very heavy it can have it doesn't necessarily have to have, because there are wonderful talking therapists out there that do great work, and you can get a lot of awareness and a lot of eureka moments and a lot of shifts, but it's true that it can have that heavy daunting element of going to the same person every week again and again and talk about your problems and why this happened and this traumatic event and all this. So that is not that way. You shed light to the writings in your walls, and maybe sometimes by seeing them there, you're like, oh, sometimes just a conscious decision on or an intention to erase it and to rewrite it with a new one works. It can give you a lot of awareness of how you behave and your thoughts, and it can easily be changed. But normally, especially when the writing in the wall has been there for a long time, it's going to require a bit more work than that. Might take a bit longer, but in the work I use, for example, or the way I work about it, and I've trained in many different healing and therapeutic modalities. I studied with counseling and coaching and done lots of different types of energy healing. And what I've come to, and after years and years of trying different things, I realized that the best way to work with the subconscious mind is through images and through inner dialogue, done kind of so first of all, to access a more meditative state where we are disengaging the conscious mind and shifting into the subconscious mind, not hypnosis, but being a bit more relaxed, shifting those brain waves to make the subconscious mind more accessible. And when you identify the resistance, when you give space to those negative thoughts that you find so annoying and that you're trying to push away so hard, when you actually give them space and go to the root of them, and you identify whether that's a memory, whether that's a part of yourself that holds certain beliefs or fears or lack of confidence, and you can have that inner dialogue through visualization, through relaxation techniques. That's extremely powerful. That's where the magic happens. So when people come to me and say, I don't want to talk about the past, I'm like, right, okay, I understand this. And I'm not going to ask you to explain to me or to describe terrible events, because that's only going to create even more trauma and, you know, reliving the experience. But we do need to understand where this recurring negative thought or where this block comes from. We need to get to the root of it. And for that, yeah, you're going to have to understand, you might need to have a conversation with your 3-year-old or with your 6-year-old, the one that decided that there was no hope for you, that you're never going to find the love of your life, that you're always going to be the one who's broke, that you have bad luck, whatever decision you made. So without that, so I would say, if you don't want to go there, that's fine, but then we're not going to achieve any deep transformation. We might achieve some goals, get you into a nice routine, some shifts, but the deep work comes from going to the root of it. There is no other way. Unless anyone has a magic wand that I'm not aware of. If you do have it, if it's available on Amazon or whatever, a magic wand that can rewrite your beliefs and can heal miraculously, please let me know. I'm really interested in that piece of gadget. That piece of gadget I will be interested in. But yeah, healing and rewriting those stories goes back to understanding the root of it. But it doesn't need to be done in a painful way. And actually, sometimes when I do sessions, and sometimes people are like, I know this is work. I know it's this memory. I know it's this time when my dad was not around, or when my dad screamed at me, or when my mom said these horrible things to me, or whatever. And it feels a bit scary to go there. But when you do it in an empowering way, in a way that is, you're not reliving it, you are going to your younger self and you are helping them understand or see things with a different perspective. Just let them know that you are there. It's so healing. It's so healing. And you've probably heard about different terms that, in my opinion, relate to a very similar concept. So when we talk about inner child work, when we talk about internal family systems, for example, the idea of different parts of ourselves. Soul retrieval, shamans talk about it in a very poetic way. I absolutely love it. It's a similar way. The main, but it's a similar idea. It's about bringing back those parts of ourselves that that were wounded and had to kind of dissociate. It's a very similar idea. It's about healing those parts of ourselves. Matrix reimprinting, which is one of the main techniques I use for this. Again, this idea. And yeah, we can combine it. You've probably come to my tapping sessions where we do all the emotional release and bring the intensity down. If there's any stress, anxiety, any emotions going on. If you've done meditations with me, you've probably heard me talk about theta healing and how when we start the process like that, it's a great relaxation tool. It helps us connect with the subconscious mind rather than the conscious mind. But that is the work. That is the work. And if someone tells you that they can heal you with a magic touch, or, well, don't get me started on bringing like channeling so different entities to do miraculously healing and things like that. If someone tells you that it's a one-off magic intervention, I would run a mile, to be honest with you. And I've tried all this. I'm talking from experience. The work is about going to the root. And I know it can be a bit scary sometimes. And yeah, some clients have been like, I don't want to go there. I don't know what's going to come out of it. Right. Okay, we're going to do it in a very safe way, very empowering way. And then they're like, it was actually fun. How is that possible? So it doesn't need to be daunting. It doesn't need to feel heavy. It's definitely not about reliving traumatic situations, but it is about going to the root of the negative thoughts, the negative mindset, whatever is coming up for you. I'm going to catch up with the comments because I think some people Oh, Jasmine is saying you're giving so much hope by saying even deeply ingrained. Oh, I lost it. Limiting beliefs can be transformed. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. It might take a bit longer. It might take your younger you or different parts of yourself a bit more convincing. But of course, it can be transformed. I had really strong beliefs, um, limiting beliefs about love and relationships because of a very traumatic divorce from my parents when I was very young. Um, Lots of limiting beliefs about working for myself and running my own business as opposed to working for the corporate world. And yeah, some of them, it took a lot of convincing. It took a lot of erasing and rewriting them again and again and again, or approaching them from different angles. But it can be done. Of course, it can be done. Yeah, absolutely. Nani is saying if I hadn't looked at my past, I'd be stuck. Oh, sorry, I lost it again. I'd be stuck subconsciously in it. That's the thing, that a lot of these writings in the walls, a lot of these stories, a lot of these beliefs, we push them into the subconscious mind. And sometimes the body does it to protect itself because if you were reliving the trauma again and again, your system will collapse. Like your fight or flight response um, uh, would end up killing you, literally. And a lot of people are stuck in that stress response or that fight or flight response, but we don't process it consciously because you would go crazy. So sometimes it's a defense mechanism that your system has to say, right, okay, we're going to keep it down. But as soon as there is a trigger, you see that it doesn't offer you peace, it doesn't offer resolution, because as soon as there is something or someone or a situation that reminds you of that, it can trigger a very strong emotional response. So it's like sweeping under the carpet, basically. Burying it in the subconscious mind is like sweeping under the carpet, and it's still gonna run the show for you, whether you like it or not. That's the thing. And I always, you always hear me say, I don't think I have I would never claim that I have the absolute truth, and and that that someone else is completely wrong, and I know 100%. But um, but in this case, there are some uh, just it's a simple, like the law of attraction, for like some laws that are there, and whether you like it or not, I mean, you can disagree as much as like, but whether you like it or not, what's in your subconscious mind is creating or having a huge impact on your reality. So you can sweep under the carpet, but the problem is still going to be there, and it's still going to be running the show from for you. So yeah, that was a great, great comment. Hi Kim, welcome. First time here. Great. Yeah, my reflection has been like draining a wound so I can heal. Absolutely. Yeah. When we have a wound, sometimes what we do is we put a plaster on it, but we don't heal it. We don't let it heal. We just put a plaster on it. What happens? Then it gets infected. And as soon as you slightly touch it, you scream in pain because it's so painful, because the wound hasn't been drained, the wound hasn't been healed, it's infected. And that's literally what happens when we experience pain and when we store fear or anger, any unpleasant emotions, or when we have the writings in the walls, that as soon as we come into contact with someone who reminds you of your dad or your mom or the boy that broke your heart at school, it hurts like hell. And then there is a big emotional reaction there, the triggers, right? By the way, the triggers, as annoying as they sound and as they can be, they are invitations for you to heal. So again, like negative, like the idea that negative thoughts are not your enemy, triggers, people who trigger you are not your enemies. They are an invitation, they are an opportunity to bring your attention to something that needs healing. Lisa is saying, I have blocked most of the memories of the cruelty and abuse from my narcissistic sociopath stepmother. How do I heal if I can't remember? Well, the thing is that you don't need to remember consciously. And sometimes I've worked with a lot of people when we've been to the womb, so it was not a memory that they remember, or when they were like 2 years old. But it's about tracking. If you start tracking the emotions, whatever fear, anger, injustice, the abuse. It might not take you to the memories, but there is a part of yourself you can speak to. There is a part of yourself that will hold that trauma and will have to say lots of things. And that is probably waiting for you to talk to her. So it might not be a particular event, it might not be something that you consciously remember, but you can still have a conversation with that part of yourself. And if you do it in a way where you are relaxed and you've done some breathing before, or theta healing, if you've done some of my meditations, and you get in touch with that part of yourself, it can give you a lot of information without having to go to a particular memory or to a particular moment. And that's how I work a lot with people. Like I said, sometimes we've gone as far as the womb or previous lifetimes. Whatever the subconscious mind is bringing to your attention or to awareness, that's what you work with. Yeah, people sending love. Felice, I love that. Oh, Peter, welcome here. New as well. Great. Lots of new faces today and lots of new names. Emily saying release emotion to heal. Oh, I don't know if that's uh, a recommendation, Dr. Pereira, from Emily. I hadn't heard about her, so I'll definitely have a look because I'm always interested to know different approaches, different angles. So yeah, so thank you guys for sharing all that. You make these sessions so rich. Judy's asking, do you have an insight timer track on this method? I have lots of recorded meditations here on Insight Timer. I can't remember a name in particular. If you drop me a message and if you're looking for anything in particular, I can point you to specific resources. But yeah, any of my theta healing meditations are based on that idea of helping us disengage from the conscious mind, connect into the subconscious mind. And some of them are designed to help you talk to different parts of yourselves. What I would recommend is the course I have here on Insight Timer, Step into Your Power with Confidence and Joy, because it has lots of different tools to help you step by step, identify, like, kind of getting clarity on your vision, the life that works for you and you would like to have, not the others, not the others expect you to live. It helps you identify resistance and negative thoughts, any hidden blocks that might be blocking it. And then it takes you to the root of it. And there is a very long meditation in there that definitely helps you with that process of talking to a part of yourself or to a younger part of you. So yeah, definitely check that out. And I have lots of, in other workshops, in other longer workshops that I've done, I talk in detail through this process. And I include, some of them include guided meditations. The ones that are longer, I normally have them on YouTube with the video. I ran a series of master classes back in December, I think, called Reclaim Your Power. So yeah, so that is all there. But yeah, but if you drop me a message, then I can send you the specific links and some resources. So we're gonna do an experiment here. Do you have talks also? I love listening to them while driving. Well, back in the day, I started a podcast, and at the beginning, I called the Positive Mindset Tribe, uh, uh, because I was all about helping people develop an empowering mindset and and be in control of their lives and consciously create the life they truly want to live. Then I realized the positive mindset was a bit like cliche and kind of linked to all this superficial positive thinking and all that. So I renamed it to Empowered Souls, and a lot of those episodes are here on Insight Timer. Actually, I uploaded them, so I stopped doing it because I was doing too many things at the same time, and especially now the baby's coming soon. The last year, I've been really prioritizing certain things, so I stopped doing it. But yeah, a lot of episodes I upload them, I upload it here, so check that out. Yeah. Right. Okay. So we're gonna do an experiment, just so you see this firsthand. So I'm going to invite you, and oh, thank you, Peter. I'm going to invite you to close your eyes if that feels comfortable for you, but you don't have to. You can just stop your gaze, take a few deep breaths, maybe shake the body a little bit, just to come into the present moment. Few deep breaths in through the nose and out through the mouth, if that feels right. And I'm going to invite you to say something beautiful to yourself, to say something nice to yourself. For example, you're a wonderful woman, you're a wonderful man. You're so beautiful. You are perfect the way you are. You deserve everything. You deserve the world. Or just to imagine yourself in a situation where you are full of success, full of abundance, love, joy, whatever your definition of success might be. Now, were you able to receive it fully, or to really embrace that image of you being super successful? Did you fully believe it? Or was there an inner voice, a resistance, maybe tension in the body going like, any negative thoughts, any parts of you in disagreement? And for some of you, the answer might be no. I was perfectly fine. I told myself that I'm perfect the way I am. I visualize myself having the best year ever, 2025 being the best year ever, unlimited levels of abundance and joy in my life. And I was perfectly fine with it. I was fully on board. I fully believed it. If that's you, congratulations. Well done. I'm sure I've done a lot of healing work to get to this point. Or maybe it was a, a belief or a message to yourself that you have worked on a lot. But I'm sure that for most people, what happened when you told yourself, I love you unconditionally, you're so beautiful, you're so successful, you deserve the world. I'm sure that for most people, there was someone else, there was an inner voice going, really? And that's the thing, when you try to program yourself with affirmations through the conscious mind, you can have a lot of willpower, right? But if there is that inner voice, or if there is a resistance, sometimes we don't know, we are not aware of it. Sometimes we haven't got to the root of it, because that's the work, right, that we're here to do. But when there is that inner voice, when there is that resistance, even if it's not coming up in concrete with, like with specific words, it might be just a reaction in the body, tension in the stomach, the throat being blocked. Those are two of the most common ones that I hear a lot when I work with people. Yeah, the stomach, the solar plexus, something doesn't feel right, something tensed up, the heart contracts, the throat blocks. And it doesn't matter the starting point, we can track it and get to the root of it. Peter is saying the ego mind always pops in, but I learned to see that right away. Yeah, and that's the first step, and one of the most important ones, awareness. Because when you're not even aware that the ego mind or the inner voice or the inner critic or the negative thought, whatever is coming up for you, when you're not even aware of it, that's the place you don't want to be in. That's the worst possible place to be in, when you're not even aware that there's something blocking you, because then you don't even recognize the need to do some things, then nothing changes, right? So now what most people do try to do, and especially with ideas like positive thinking and positive affirmations and vision boards and all this, they will tell you to just keep visualizing, visualize it 3 hours a day, say more affirmations, think more positively, add more positive thoughts, do post-its around you, do it 1 hour every morning, which is great stuff. It's a great tool. But the problem is that when you focus on that, you're talking to a tiny, 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 tiny portion of your mind. That's not where the powerful stuff happens. That's not where the magic happens. Because these inner voices, the ego mind, the stories, the resistance, it's deep down there. It's deep down there. So if you really want to achieve transformation, the magic is in doing the deeper work. And like I said, today is not going to be about doing a long meditation or experiencing that. But what I would, again, one of the key messages that I would like to take is that inner voice, or those negative thoughts or those stories, are not your enemy. They're there for a reason. They are screaming, literally screaming for help, for you to pay attention to them. So instead of trying to think more positively or do more affirmations, my suggestion, my recommendation, one of the first tips that I'm going to share with you, is to give space to these parts of yourself, to these thoughts, to not be afraid to do that deep work, because that's what's going to bring you deep and real and long-lasting transformation. And then when you rewrite those stories, then yeah, positive affirmations and positive thinking and intentions, that accelerates, the love, the joy, the success, the abundance you can experience. So the way I see it, the real work is the deep work, and rewriting that. First of all, identifying it, tracking it, getting to the root of it, and rewriting the story. And yeah, like I said, today we're not going to do one of those deep meditations, but I have loads here, and if you drop me a message, I'm happy to point you to specific resources, but that's the main idea. And then the affirmations, the positive thinking, it's a way to accelerate whatever you want to attract, the life you want to create. But for them to work as an accelerator, you need to be in movement. Because if you're trying to accelerate, but there is a brake that is 1,000 times stronger, you're not going to get very far. You're not going to get very far. Now, when you identify that you're pressing the brake and you let it go, then you can accelerate, and then, yeah, everything flows because you're in alignment, because you're not blocking yourself, your vision and your state of being, your thoughts, your beliefs, your attitudes, your emotions are aligned with your vision, with your direction, with the life you want to create. And then when everything is aligned, then yeah, transformation and synchronicities can happen very, very fast. And it's very empowering, very, very empowering to see that. So like I say, if you want to go a bit deeper into the process and do some healing meditations to really experience the work, check out the other resources I have, or drop me a message. This is what I do in my one-on-one sessions. I'm not offering my long programs anymore because I don't have time, because the baby is due in early March, but I do offer, I have some slots still for some one-on-one sessions. If you wanted to work deeper, if you have identified something but you're really struggling to rewrite that narrative, and a topic you want to work on. So yeah, feel free to check out my profile to know more and to go more in depth. But I would like to wrap up the session by sharing some really practical tools that you can start implementing every day. So the first one is, like I said, don't be afraid to go deep and to do the deeper work, because it's where the magic happens, and it's where it's really, really rewarding. Trust me. It doesn't need to be scary. It doesn't need to be painful. It doesn't need to be heavy, it doesn't need to feel bad. You can do it in a way that feels really, really empowering and transformational. And yeah, I'm not gonna lie, a lot of the times when if I'm in a session, for example, and we're talking to someone's inner child or a younger part of themselves, or or a memory when there was trauma, yeah, there will be emotions that will be released. Sometimes they get emotional as soon as they start talking to that, but it's not relieving the trauma. It's just like a release, right? And it can feel so good and so empowering. So don't be afraid to do it, because if you have the right tools and the right guidance to do it, it doesn't need to be painful. It doesn't need to be re-traumatizing. It can feel very, very empowering and like lifting a big weight of your shoulders. And I know that you people who are here and who come to these sessions, especially the ones who know me and keep coming back, this is not for the easily scared. This is for brave people like you. And I know that when you come here, when you come, not only mine, but to do other teachers meditations, and a lot of you are in really inspiring healing journeys. And so I know that if you're here, is because you resonate with this, and you are brave, because this is not for everyone. This work is not for everyone. Like I said, some people ask, oh, we're going to talk about no, that doesn't resonate with me. I've done it before, I've done therapy before, and I don't even want to try it. Fine. I was in a position when I was, I don't know, 18, 16, 17, 18, when I was an absolute mess inside. And if someone had told me to do healing or something, I would have been like, what are you talking about? I wasn't ready. I wasn't ready, and that's fine. Uh, but uh, but yeah, but if what's stopping you is uh, the fear that is going to make things worse, or if you have the right tools and the right guidance, it can be a beautiful process. Not just not painful, but a really beautiful and empowering process. So yeah, especially if your heart is telling you to go somewhere or to take action, follow that instinct, because the rewards are enormous. The way you can transform your life when you transform yourself from the inside, and when you rewrite the writings on your walls, is absolutely incredible. Now, more practical tips in terms of day-to-day things that you can do for your day-to-day life. Gratitude. I think I did a session on gratitude a few weeks ago, something like that. One of my, if I had to choose one thing to do every day, in the morning or in the evening, as part of your routine, it would be practicing gratitude. The power of practicing gratitude is completely underestimated in the healing world. Sometimes people want to make healing like a very complicated and sophisticated thing. But sometimes the simplest things are the ones that can have a really profound impact. This is something I've been doing ever since I came back from Christmas, and I always try to add it one way or another to my routine. But in the winter, because I'm from Spain and I live in the UK, where it's cold and it rains all the bloody time, the winter can really get to me. And I know that January, it's not an easy month for me. So, and I can get stuck in a lot of negativity and, not wanting to do anything, and it's dark and cold and all this. So I decided, right, this year is going to be different. And we're going to tackle this from the very beginning, so I don't get to that stage. And every morning I've been practicing 15 or 20 minutes of gratitude, where I just set a timer. And even if it's raining outside, even if it's cold, cloudy, I don't care. I focus on the good things. I connect with a deep state of gratitude, humble gratitude that come when you really step into it, not just acknowledging, oh, I have lots of clothes in my wardrobe, and I suppose I have a roof over my head, so I should be grateful. No, like really feeling, like really connecting that appreciation. If you want to connect with God, with the divine, if you really feel it, if you really allow yourself to feel it, it's a game changer, and it will shift your attitude in seconds. And if you practice that for 15, 20 minutes, it doesn't need to be 15, 20 minutes. It can be 3 minutes. Literally, 3 minutes is all you need. But if you really allow yourself to connect with that feeling of gratitude, which is a very high frequency emotion, you will notice that your attitude, your mood shifts instantly. And this is kind of related to my second tip, which is choose carefully how you start your day, because how you start your day sets the intention for the rest of the day, and it can make it or break it. So choose very carefully the first thing you do when you get out of bed. If that's going on your phone and social media, might not be the best idea. If it's eating something quickly that you know it's not very healthy for you, again, not a good idea. If it's complaining or worrying about what's coming next and you know the stressful day you have ahead, that's what you're setting yourself for. So choose very carefully and be very intentional with the first thing you do in the morning. So for me, that's a shower, because I feel like if I don't have a shower, I don't wake up properly for some reason. Might be silly, but it's what I need. First thing I do is take a shower, and then I do my meditation morning routine. And the first thing that my morning routine has after I shower is gratitude. So choose something that works for you, but something that sets you on the right path to start the day with the right food. Sarah is saying, I've been on a healing journey for a while and have noticed major shifts, but I have realized it is daily work, so worth it. Absolutely. Absolutely. And actually, one of my next tips is be consistent. This is not a one-day intervention. You can come to one of my meditations and maybe you felt a big relief and or releasing some emotions, um, a light bulb moment. Uh, yeah, doing gratitude one day, it's better than not doing it at all. But Sarah, I completely agree with you, 100%. It's daily work. It's not a one-off intervention. So the more consistent you are, the more you do it, the bigger results you'll see. So for me, there are many things that I have worked on, that I have healed, and that I am very happy with the results or with the state I'm in. But I always have a morning routine. I always have, and there are of course things that I still need to heal and that I'm still working on. I'm still work in progress, of course. But even the areas of my life that are working and that I feel at peace, it's kind of maintaining it. It's like, imagine you've set yourself a goal of being super fit and and having a really nice body for your wedding, for example. And you go to the gym every day because you have that goal in mind, and then you achieve it, and then you look amazing in your wedding dress, and that feels fantastic, doesn't it? And then after that, you go back to eating chips and pizza and not going to the gym. You lose it, right? So yeah, so you maybe you got to a state, but if you want to maintain it, if you want to maintain that nice body, you know that you have to still go to the gym. Maybe you don't do it in such an intense way. Maybe you go once or twice a week. Maybe you don't need to focus on having such, I don't know, toned abs or whatever that was. But you get the example. Um, you have to maintain it in a certain way. So if you let yourself go back to old ways of thinking, old habits, old beliefs, then you're going to lose all the progress. So yeah, consistency and that daily work, having daily habits, a daily routine is it's a way of life. For me, healing is not a one-off intervention or something you do uh, for a little while and then you're done for the rest of your life. It's a way of life. It's a way of living. The habits, um, uh, the people, and that's some of the other tips, the people you surround yourself with, the books you read, everything you input, into your body, your mind, your soul. That counts every single day, not just when you're doing therapy for a few months or a few weeks, every day. So consistency is key. And yeah, sometimes the small things and the simpler things um, uh, is what matter. Once it becomes the way of life, it becomes easier, even with all the craziness of the world. Absolutely. That's the thing, that when you make it a way of life and when you make it a habit, then you don't have to worry that much about if something's going wrong. You're just making your life flow, and you don't have to worry about, yeah, the madness in the world. You don't have to worry about not that life is going to be a bed of roses and there are not going to be challenges, but you know how to manage it. You know how to respond to it. You have tools. You come from a place where you can deal with with the stress or the situations or whatever. You don't come from a place where you are depleted. Right. Okay. Another tip: train your mind to stay present. And this is really, really important, because very often when we have a negative thought, so imagine, for example, I'm going to start my own business. I'm going to find a wonderful partner. This year, I'm going to make lots of new friends. This year, I'm going to reclaim my health, whatever your goal or whatever you're setting your intentions to. And then a negative thought kicks in. And this happens especially in the middle of the night. Tell me, tell me that this has never happened to you. You wake up in the middle of the night, just trying to fall asleep again, just thinking about the day you have tomorrow, and suddenly a negative thought kicks in, and then you engage with it and you feed it, and then it becomes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And at some point at 3 a.m. in the morning, lying in bed in the dark bedroom, that negative thought that started as a tiny negative thought has become a big monster. And you're like, how did this even happen? How I got to this point? How am I thinking about these all catastrophic potential scenarios that could happen that never happen? Because they're very unlikely, because it's just a monster that we have fed. So when you train your mind through meditation or mindfulness, any mind training exercises that you might have in your toolbox, it can be really powerful, uh, because I'm not saying to use it to ignore the negative thought, but what it does is that it can keep you aware and in the present moment and grounded. So you recognize the thought like a thought that is not you, not a monster that takes over. You just recognize it as a thought that you might want to heal or change or give space to it later. But your mind is still grounded, your mind is still present, is still in the here and now. And that's really, really key, because a lot of the suffering we experience comes because our mind is not trained to stay present and to stay in the here and now and to stay in this moment. But we give a lot of attention to thoughts and what might happen in the future and what happened in the past, and how angry I am at my boss who dared to say this to me this morning, or how worried I am about the meeting tomorrow, or about a health problem, or whatever that is. We tend to live either in the future or in the past, but not in the present. And then we miss life, because life happens in the present moment. And a lot of suffering that we put ourselves through could be avoided if we trained our minds to be present. And the problem is that in the modern world, because there's so much stimuli, um, starting from the mobile phones. My mobile phone is always on airplane mode in a drawer somewhere. I don't use it. I don't have notifications, because it's frying our brains. It's destroying our attention span, literally, with all the notifications, with all the a message, beep beep, ding 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 ding, oh, a pop up on the screen. It's terrible. It's terrible for concentration. It's terrible for mindfulness. And the more we are exposed to that, the less trained the mind becomes. So then when there is a thought, when there is a situation, we become reactive to it because we're used to that stimuli reaction, engaging, taking action. And it doesn't matter if you were in the middle of writing an email, maybe you leave it halfway through, or if you were trying to do some focus work, and we react. We really become this reactive, or we get caught in this reactive way of being. Whereas if we train our mind to be mindful and to be in the present moment, that's a really powerful tool to not let the negative thoughts take over and control your reality. Now, I'm not saying this is not about ignoring them or repressing them. It's about just becoming aware of them, but letting them be. Don't give them any more power than they have. And if you become aware of a negative thought, write it down. Right, okay, I'll bring it to my next healing session, or I'll bring it to my next meditation. So whenever I get home and, have a moment before bed, or whatever tools you have, I'll work on that. And actually next week on Tuesday, my next live here is going to be exactly about that. It's going to be a meditation about grounding and staying present. So if this is something you struggle with, next Tuesday, that's what we're going to cover. What else? And then, yeah, of course, what I said about people you surround yourself with, finding your tribe. I know that sometimes we have to deal with family members that we can't just cut off and, take out of our lives, and we shouldn't. It's not about that. But very often we choose to hang out with people who we know that don't add anything to our life, or events or activities, and you feel much worse when you finish. So be very selective with the people you let in your life. Surround yourself by inspiring people. If you're trying to start a business or working for yourself, go to networking events where you can meet business owners, where you can be surrounded by people who have done it, who are gonna send you the message that it's possible. Surround yourself with that energy, not with your old friends, the ones that are telling you that you're crazy and that it's never going to happen and that you're going to struggle with it, because it's going to feed your thoughts. And what we give attention to, energy follows. So be very selective and be very careful with the people you let in your life and the messages you allow from them. And sometimes, everything you do, really, the books you read, the food you eat, the food is so important. And I'm not a nutritionist. My husband is a nutritional therapist, and he knows a lot about food, so he's always sharing these things with me. So I'm not an expert now, so I'm not on the topic, so I'm not going to give any details. But there are lots of food that are dense, that are heavy, that feed certain parts of the brain, like sugar, for example, feeds the survival part of the brain, not the higher level of thinking. We need healthy fats for that, for example. So like I said, I'm not going to go into detail, but the food you eat, and sometimes you feel it. You feel that you eat something. Like, for example, now that we've bought a juicer, we're having these beautiful vegetable juices. And when you have that vegetable juice freshly squeezed, it feels so alive. It feels so full of life. And I had one this morning, and it was like, oh my God, what a great way to start the day. What a kick of life force, and great. Now, sometimes I treat myself because I crave, I don't know, a burger and chips or something like that. And then I know that I feel heavier, and it doesn't, so the food you eat, the books you read, anything that you input, that you put into your physical body, your mind, your soul, everything counts. Everything makes a difference. The source of information you're exposed to, social media, the news. If you have come to some of my sessions, you're not new to the idea that I threw my TV away 8, 9 years ago now. Best decision of my life. I use a bit of social media for promotion and, but I absolutely despise it. I deleted my social media accounts for a couple of years, and it was a really good time, I have to say. Um, so yeah, so again, be very mindful and very selective with what you put into your physical body, your mind, and your soul, because everything counts. And sometimes we think, oh, it's just a bit of scrolling down on Facebook, it's no big deal. Oh, I'm just watching the TV, the commercials. It's just in the background. Even worse, because then they go straight into your subconscious mind. So we need to be very careful with this. The clothes you wear, that's the last one I have in my list, so we're going to be wrapping up the session soon. By the way, I would love you guys to share if you have any tricks, if you have any mindset hacks, anything that really works for you. Please share it here, because I'm sure you have a lot of wisdom and lots of things to share. So yeah, feel free to share in the chat. But yeah, the clothes you wear, very often I work from home 80% of the time, most of the time. So especially at the beginning when I started, it was very easy to just be like, why do I even I get to get changed? I'll just wear my slippers and my pajamas, as long as I have a nice jumper that looks good on camera, the rest. And if I'm not doing anything on video, why do I even have to bother? And it makes such a big difference. And it's not about superficial, it's not about like wearing expensive clothes to make you feel better. It's not about that. But it's about again, like how you start the day and when you make the effort. And recently, well, not the last week or so, because I'm starting to feel very heavy with the pregnancy thing, but until up to a week or something like that, I would be at home and I would be wearing high heels because I love my shoes. I have lots of beautiful shoes and I love them. And it make a big difference in terms of like how I feel that I'm working and I'm dressed up for the occasion, and then I'm gonna make this happen. It's a way to just get yourself into that mood. And it could be shoes, it could be clothes, but it could be tidying up your room. If you're working, for example, from a room that is full of clutter, your mind is going to be absorbing that and it's going to be full of clutter as well. You're not going to be able to concentrate. Tidying up the space, I don't know, lighting up some candles, burning some essential oils, I don't know, whatever works, playing some music, certain type of music. For example, when I'm doing focus work, when I'm not doing sessions and I'm just doing um, uh, admin work or creating or planning or something like that, I will have classical music in the background to help me concentrate and to, have something harmonious and to give the brain as as a background. So small things like that, small details like that can make also a huge difference. So guys, I wasn't planning to go on for that long, but I never do, and in the end I always do. I never plan to, but I always end up spending longer than I was planning to. So thank you guys if you've been here from the beginning. Thank you for bearing with me. Oh, we've hit 200 meditators here today. Amazing. I don't know if I had hit 200 meditators live here before. I very often have like 180. I think it was 190 the other day, and I thought one day it's going to be 200. Here we go. Thank you, guys. Thank you, guys. So yeah, so thank you for being here all this time. I'm gonna have a look at the final comments here. Jesse's saying, my negative thoughts come up when I'm just about to do something. Yeah, that's the thing. You're about to do something, you're about to get on with your day, take action, and then, there goes the resistance. So yeah, give them some space, do some journaling, write them down, see what they have to say and what they're trying to do, because negative thoughts always have a purpose. They're not random. They're not there just like, they're not just, negative thoughts that are bouncing up and down and then suddenly they decide to bother me today. It's not like that. They're there for a reason. So ask the negative thoughts. Why are you trying to protect me from? Why are you here? Why are you trying to? What do you think you need to be here? What's the purpose of you being here? Giving me all these messages, and try to, and again, then the deep work, try to track it. But yeah, very often is when you take action, or when you decide to go to the gym, or to eat the healthy food in terms of instead of the pizza, to do something for your health, to do something that is gonna help your business succeed, is when the resistance and the negative thoughts come in. Very common. Yeah, Noni saying sugar buildup brings out anger and frustration in me, makes me sense that it fits fight or flight brain. Absolutely. Absolutely. That's what it does. So it fits those kind of like reactive, instinctive emotions, but not the other layers of the brain where higher thinking and creativity happen. Thank you, Elena, for being here as always. Oh, Sarah, thank you so much for your donation. Thank you so much. Much appreciated, my love. Oh, Jenny saying your lives are always helpful and inspiring. Thank you for being here, my love. Thank you. Um, that was a great session and synchronicity for me today. Well, I'm very glad to hear that. So yeah, thank you so much, guys, for being here, for following me. If you don't already, make sure you follow me here on Inside Timer so you can be reminded of next live events or new tracks. Yeah, thank you for your donations. Always welcome and much appreciated. For your reviews on my tracks and your lovely comments. They really light up my heart. So I'm very grateful for everyone in this community. The familiar faces, the ones that keep coming back, makes me super happy. The new faces and the new names, the come here because another session was cancelled, or because for whatever reason the session called to them and they found something inspiring here. Super grateful for all of you. Thank you, Peter, for being here and your wisdom and your insights. And yeah, of course, thank you all of you for sharing your wisdom, your insights, because you make these sessions super rich, and yeah, this lovely community. So guys, I'll see you next on Tuesday for a meditation on grounding and staying present. And yeah, like I say, if you have any questions, want to know anything any more about the work I do, or if you're facing any challenges and you would like me to point you to specific resources, feel free to drop me a message. I'm always happy to hear from you, and I always reply to your messages. So please be in touch. Sending much love and light to everyone. Big hug and have a wonderful rest of your day, everyone. Take care.